Episode 6, Black Panther Movie Review.
Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So, switch on your brain and enjoy the show.
And we're back with the Visionary Variety Podcast. Thank you guys for listening for another great episode. So I just wanted to introduce everyone since for whatever reason, we've never introduced ourselves before, except for the introduction episode. But I am Daniel Grove, the Bearded Wonder. So I'm the main host of the show. We've also got another host, Nate Gunn.
Hey.
And we've got Angela Brock as our favorite guest host.
Hello.
Who is our source of womanly wisdom and normalness. So we are very grateful to have her with us to help us out. We need her. So today we're going to be talking about the Black Panther movie with basically just doing a review. We're going to jump straight into spoilers for the most part. So, you've been warned. The spoilers are coming. So if you haven't seen the movie, if you don't want to be spoiled, which I do suggest you see the movie before listening to spoilers, just go watch it. Watch it at least 2 times. So it'd be great. And then come back and listen to this.
Snap! I've only seen it once, so no.
Oh, well, I was going to see it a second time on Friday, and then I got in a car wreck. So,
well,
That's how excited you were about the movie.
I was in a hurry, and I was not. Yeah, I'll send the bill to Marvel.
Daniel don't play about his movies. Move.
You guys made such a good movie. I was in a rush to see it a second time, and I got in a car wreck, and it's all your fault. Pay me money. No. Yeah, that was my weekend, and I'm really sad I didn't get to see it a second time. I'm also sad that I got in a car wreck, but I don't know which one I'm more sad about.
Oh my gosh.
That's how good this movie is. So I love this movie. I think this could possibly be one of the best Marvel movies. I love Iron Man. I love Avengers. And it's hard to say anything's better than those, just maybe because the impact they had on me, because they were some of the first. But man, this movie's good. You guys agree?
Oh, I agree.
Oh, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I can't say it's a perfect movie because in my research, I found a few plot holes, which you'll find in any movie. Honestly, you can't write a perfect fictional story because it's fiction. That's kind of the nature of the beast. But man, it's really solid, and the themes, the purpose, what it achieves as a movie is really one of a kind. I can't think of any other movies that are action oriented or fictional. Especially science fiction that achieve what this movie achieves, and we'll get to that later.
The MCU has come so far, so what a great time to present another character like this.
So good. Yeah, we had Wonder Woman on the DC side, which is great to have a well-done woman-featured movie, and that had a great impact. It's very inspiring, and it's good for women to finally have someone that they can really latch onto and be like, this is fun to watch, and I'm a woman. And, we got Black Widow. I know. I'm not saying there's never been a woman hero. And with me ranting and raving about Black Panther, I'm not going to say there's never been a black hero before, because obviously there hasn't. There's a list of them you can find, but they have not been like this movie. And I think that's why this movie is important. So what were you guys' expectations before seeing this movie? What were y'all looking forward to? What did you think was going to happen? Yeah.
I pretty much went in with a completely blank slate. Like, I didn't do any research before I saw the movie. I didn't even see any of the trailers, I don't think. And yeah.
Wow.
I was just, I don't know. I just went in with a completely blank slate. And I'm like, I don't want to be biased whatsoever by what other people are saying. And I just want to take the movie as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I have enjoyed so many movies that people have hated on and gotten bad reviews for, and I legitimately enjoyed the movie. I can see their problems usually, but I liked it. So I try not to listen to people's critiques anymore. Yeah. Honestly, I was like, I just want to give movies a chance, and especially a movie like this. I mean, it's MCU. Like, you got to give MCU a chance. They make good movies. Mm-hmm. So I was similar. I watched the trailers though, and I had some estimations like I always do, try to predict things. But I didn't know really anything about Black Panther as far as the comics, and I was just super anticipating a really great movie, and I was not disappointed. Nate, what did you come to the theater with?
Well, I had comic book knowledge just a little bit. I know he had some encounters with Fantastic Four in the comics. I don't know too much about what kind of happened. I just know he had a crossing. I saw the movie poster when it was released way back when. I don't know, probably even after Civil War. I think poster ideas started coming out. So I was like, ooh, I'm really looking forward to that because, Black Panther just kind of he just really came out of nowhere.
Literally in Civil War, out of nowhere.
I mean, and that's fine because like I knew another character was coming because we had Bucky, the Winter Soldier. Well, I don't even know if he's the Winter Soldier now because everybody called him White Fox. I think in the end credits after all the credits, they
super spoilers.
Yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
super spoilers. At the very end of every single credit, they call him a different name, and I don't know if that's maybe just something they call them there. But
I noticed that.
I don't know. I only saw the teaser, and I may have seen the trailer when I went to the movies. But other than that, I think I only saw one trailer, and then other than that, I went in with open mind. I knew I liked him in Civil War. I knew I liked his character, his personality, who he was, the story on how he became Black Panther. Well, the way they presented him when his father passed in Civil War, how he basically just picked up the baton and ran with it. It was really, he was being trained under his father. So for it to have something that abrupt to just happen out of nowhere, which was sad and cool at the same time for him to really shine and really for him to be involved. It didn't take too long, at least in Civil War, it didn't take too long for him to be introduced. But I had so many questions at the end. I was like, well, Black Panther is this, Black Panther, where are they going to go with that? So when I saw the actual movie, I remember I was like, wow, like just the detail. Like I said, MCU's come so far since, Iron Man, the first one. And the storyline was, I don't think it could get any better than what they did. I'm sure there's a lot of open-ended questions that I have at the second time or the third time I get to watch it. Oh, I realize something, but I really enjoyed it. I really want to own it. I'm been wanting to go back, but I've only seen it once. So
yeah, I don't buy movies. I'm like not that. I've never bought a DVD in my life, but I consider buying this movie. Nice. How good it was. Well, before we get into talking about the nitty gritty of the show, I do want to address the Pink Panther in the room.
There you go. Pink Panther in the room.
Wow. The pink elephant in the room.
Oh, no,
that was wrong. So let's talk about the racial issues of this movie. So, like I said earlier, I believe this movie achieved something really powerful and really inspiring and important to, just mankind as a whole, but for this time that we're in today. I don't rant and rave about this movie saying that, oh my God, this is the first black hero, because that's not accurate. That's dumb. I mean, we've had Blade, we've had Spawn. They're kind of anti-heroes, but they're there. Really cool movies, cool characters. We've, of course, got Falcon and War Machine in the Avengers. Woo-hoo. So they're there. But did those movies present Africa as cultures? Did they do justice to, racial equality? They didn't. That wasn't the focus of those movies. And I'm not shooting down those, movies or those characters, but I'm just saying that this movie, its purpose was really great. And I think it achieved a good goal. Would you guys agree with that?
Wakanda forever. It was really good. I liked it. So.
Yeah. So one cool thing that I think a lot of people are loving about this movie, and that some people don't quite understand or value, is that it represented African diversity. So you can't just say like African culture as a singular thing. There are so many different cultures in Africa. Mm-hmm. I mean, Egypt is in Africa. There's different countries within Africa that are very different from each other. And only by stereotyping will you think they're all the same. But this movie did give a spotlight to diversity in Africa. We've got the 5 tribes. They're all different. They've got different fashion. They've got a different kind of, it seemed like they each had a kind of an animal, right? Like there was I
think so, yeah.
Yeah, they each have kind of an animal, spirit or whatever it's for their tribe to represent them. So there's diversity in different ways there, but it's cool because they showed that all the 5 tribes were working together. And, that's not really the case we see in history. Differing groups of people with something powerful and valuable in the middle of them, they're not usually going to get along. They're going to be war. But this presents a really nice, kind of utopia look at what could happen if we got along. And they linked together and they helped each other. And, that's really beautiful. And it's really cool to see Africa presented in a good light, kind of, starting on a new leaf, like, hey, this is a fictional world, but what if this happened, and how great would this have been? So I really like that. And, on another angle of this, the racial issues of this movie is that this movie pretty much had nothing to do with America. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Totally fine with that. It was really good.
Different.
It did not take place in New York.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, I mean, the reason it takes place in New York is at that time frame, like when all the rest of the comics were out. A lot of it happened in New York, so I'm glad that they finally
and the Avengers are there. So.
Finally, we get away from New York after so many movies.
Yeah. So the insurance agents of Shield get a break for 2018.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
More on that later. We're gonna have a whole episode devoted to insurance agents of Shield.
Yes.
Could do an audio drama. So,
oh my god.
So it's not New York. It's not America. It's not even African Americans. It's just straight up Africans or Wakandans. And even the white characters. I think the CIA character, he was supposed to be American, but he's played by a European actor, a British actor, right?
Yeah, he is.
The guy who played Bilbo. I don't know actors' names. I'm sorry.
Dr. Watson.
Martin Freeman.
Watson too, and then the guy who played Claw, he is not American either. And
Andy Serkis,
yeah. So we got the Tolkien white guys.
Oh man,
I love that joke.
I had to put that joke in here.
Oh, that's awful.
Tolkien, get it? Tolkien. Okay.
Oh man.
Moving on.
Oh boy.
So this is great. This movie opens the superhero franchise to the broader planet Earth, not just America and not just New York, or California where stuff happens. It seems like in action movies, or DC. So this is awesome. And I think it's good. So let's talk about first where this movie fits in the timeline. So I was confused. I didn't know if this movie took place before Civil War because in Civil War, Black Panther, T'Challa is the Black Panther. He's got the suit. He is very, he's not a newbie to fighting and action. So I'm thinking, well, okay, is he already the Black Panther? But no, he wasn't king then in Civil War. His dad was. So after looking it up, this movie does take place after Civil War.
Yeah.
So immediately after, if someone said even a few days after the death of T'Chaka. In the movie, Wakanda and T'Challa are still grieving, the death of their king.
Yeah.
And that provides some really beautiful story, I think, for T'Challa's character. But the focus is Wakanda, and you have to kind of imagine they're not going to go too long without a king, I don't think. And so they get straight to the, I don't know what they call it, the coronation where they have the battle of, who's going to win, and they pick the king, and they become the Black Panther. Yeah, I love that. That scene was amazing, wasn't it? Fighting on the waterfall.
That's a different idea.
And I like how it's basically you're not a superhero taking on a human or a superhuman taking on a superhuman. Yeah. They take the power from you, and then they give it back to you, or they give it to whoever is wins the match. Basically, I was like, wow, I like that. That's really cool, actually.
That was cool to see someone who it's actually revealed that he has superpowers, which you don't really know that. I mean, you assume it because he's awesome in Civil War, but you kind of you chalk it up to the suit, or it's just it's a Marvel movie. People do crazy things that are not possible, but no, he's actually enhanced by the heart-shaped herb. It doesn't have a name. It's just heart-shaped herb.
It's interesting.
Why doesn't this plant have an African Wakanda name? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a name, but either we all missed it, or they'll be in the next.
They only ever call it the heart-shaped herb, which is weird.
Interesting.
Anyway, so that was cool. He becomes a normal human with no enhancements, and he's got to fight for his own, and whoever wins. And
looks very painful. Let's just put it that way. To take the power away from him.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it feels very good because all of his veins pop up and he looks like he's struggling.
Yeah, it doesn't look very pleasant. It's kind of like kryptonite.
Yeah.
This movie is interesting because we know now that Black Panther has two major weaknesses. The herb that takes his power away. Someone could spike his drink or put it in a dart. You don't know. Could get it into his body somehow. Put it in the air. Anything's possible in the fantasy world. Put it in a laser, I don't know. And then also the sonic, what are they called? Sonic panels or whatever for the transport train?
That his sister made.
Yeah, so that screws up his nanobots. So someone could unsuit him, and take away at least that benefit of protection.
Thank goodness he knows how to fight without the suit and the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then that would just be awful.
Like Iron Man, I don't know. Without his suit, is he a good martial artist?
Tony Stark would pretty much just be a sitting jock
probably
for
now,
anyone.
but probably not when he was starting.
Yeah. I mean, he can punch people with his super-powered arms, but I don't know. He's not much good in a hand-to-hand fight, and we never see that, do we? It's kind of funny.
No.
Did y'all ever watch Jessica Jones?
I have.
Not a lot of it, but yeah.
She's funny. She's not your typical fighter.
No.
Like, she's super powerful because of whatever was done to her, right? But there's one scene that really made me laugh. She keeps getting attacked by like some goons like in the street. They're like henchmen for the bad guy. And, they're all fighters. Like, they know martial arts, but she just one punch and they're down.
Yeah.
And I think she says something to the effect, she's like, am I the only one that doesn't know karate here? So funny because they're all like martial arts masters and they're just, regular like street guys.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. It's great.
I don't know anything about that. That sounds funny. I'll have to definitely get into that.
They're cool. There's some adult content.
It's a little intense in some places.
Yeah, that for sure.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Netflix original.
So yeah, I like that underneath his suit and even before the power, T'Challa is a formidable force and he's a good fighter. He is a great character. I mean, not just character like writing it, but like he has good character. Like he's humble, which is awesome.
Yeah, I really like him as a character a lot.
Yeah, he seems wise and like self-controlling himself. Tony will say whatever comes to mind.
Right. That's why he's kind of like a breath of fresh air compared to like all the wisecracking Avengers and stuff like that.
There was some comedy, but it was realistic comedy in a place where there could be comedy.
Right. Yeah, I really like the comedy in this movie. It's well timed, well placed. Didn't seem forced to me, at least.
Didn't seem like Thor Ragnarok,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the humor was well placed. Like the scene where Andy Serkis is kind of going insane, looking at he's like, "I see you, I see you in there." He's like making all these kind of things at the screen. Agent Ross is basically saying, "Is there anything I need to know?" He's saying this kind of stuff, and in Black Panther, he just keeps us cool the whole time.
Yeah.
And he answers his questions in a way where he answered it, but really didn't answer it.
Yeah,
and then it basically. It's the patient game. Like he asks a question, and if he can't answer it, then Black Panther just kind of stares at him and waits for something to happen, which is funny.
He's great. Yeah, he like Angela said, he is a great breath of fresh air from smart cracking, from over talkative people, or just people who have crazy opinions all the time. Like he keeps to himself until he has a good answer for whatever the dialogue is, and I like that. Yeah. And it wasn't boring. You'd think that could come off boring or really like lazy writing, but it didn't. It came off purposeful and great.
Yeah, to me, he's inspiring, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was wise. And at the same time, it's not like he knew everything. Like he was learning and listening. I felt like he would listen to opinions and both sides of the story.
Well, you got to remember, he was still kind of under his father. I guess there was still training going on by the time his dad was murdered. So there's probably a lot that he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what would have been, but I'm sure there's some training or teaching or some verbiage, something that he doesn't know about. Yeah,
well, I mean, he's the heir for the throne, so you better train your son right. That'd be a good king, because it's coming.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So cool. So the story itself. So I like what I liked about it was that it wasn't a nobody to somebody story. It wasn't like. I don't know, like Luke out in the desert becoming the savior of the galaxy. Captain America is kind of like that. Captain America was a nobody, and through whatever acts of valor and chance and luck, he becomes a big somebody. But Tony Stark's it's not like Tony Stark where he is a big somebody and he crumbles down to nothing. It was sort of like in the middle. Because he's royalty, so that's something. But he's not like becoming something, or he's not losing everything. He does, almost die. Like, there's that sort of that hero's journey happening. But I don't know, it was just different than Cap and Tony's story, and I like that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the overall story, flow of it?
I mean, I thought the flow of the story was pretty good. I mean, I can't get into an in-depth analysis of like the plot because I'm not like the best at doing something like that. But I mean, I just thought the overall, the flow of like action to serious talking moments to character development and all that. I think all that was handled really well. Yeah,
there was no slow points where I was like, oh, this is kind of boring and slow.
Yeah, like my attention was pretty much focused on the movie the entire time. I didn't ever think that, when is this movie going to be over and stuff like that? Or when's this scene going to be over? I thought it was all pretty much interesting throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Nate? Story?
The movie was long, but it was very enjoyable. So
yeah,
there was a lot of story they had to kind of this movie had a lot to kind of fill out who Black Panther was, who his dad was, who the country was, who's that.
They kind of have to do that with every new character, honestly.
Yeah.
It's an origin story kind of.
They did a good job this time, and they kept telling the story I guess the way I think of the movie is they kept telling the story as action was going on. So basically, imagine a storyteller telling a story and then someone trying to interfere, which would be like Michael B. Jordan's role or Andy Serkis' role. They kept interfering, with. But I never got bored, and I really liked a lot of the cast. And I definitely Michael B. Jordan's role for the bad guy. He was not your typical bad guy. He was kind of like
you could see his side of things.
Yeah, I mean, like he wasn't. Yeah, he was a little twisted for killing everybody and making all the marks all over his body. He probably used.
Well, he was in the army. I mean, he was in the military. That's
kind of That's kind of a big step to burn or whatever you do to your body, getting notches all over it. That was something.
Reminds me of this one Batman villain that always makes a scar on his body every time he kills someone.
Yeah. But he was I wish in some ways and this is gonna sound silly, but I wish he didn't die and he was like, got kicked out of Wakanda was a problem or paired up or something. I don't know. Like I said, he was a different villain basically.
Yeah.
And I liked it. And it wasn't, he was cocky. Yeah. Of course, but what else do you expect in a villain? And I liked it. Like when he comes up to Wakanda, I think with the council, I guess you can call it, like the throne.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty calm. Like he didn't say, I am so-and-so. He waited for them. He's like, ask me who I am. Like, ask me. And I was like, dang, like at least he's not like blabbering his mouth of, I'm so-and-so of, and he's like, ask who I am, And then when he said it, I was like, wow,
that was good.
That was cool.
That was such a tense scene.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, what's gotta happen? Are they gonna
things
fight?
Things are getting real.
Yeah. Stuff just hit the Wakandan fan.
Basically, he just went up there and said, I accept, I challenge. But I'm not recalling the name at the moment, but Michael B. Jordan's role, he really didn't even care about being king. He just wanted to be top dog. Like, all he was worried about fighting and having power. It was interesting that Agent Ross said, oh man, like, he's trained as, is he Black Ops or like Special Forces?
I don't remember.
And he's supposed to go in and take down governments. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think of the kind of that backstory of vibranium and the opening scene, basically that shows the history and the god Bast and things like that?
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, where did that asteroid come from originally that contained all the vibranium?
Vibranium, planet vibranium.
I know. There could be just an alien race out there that just got loads of the stuff, and they're coming for Earth eventually. I don't know. I figure in the comics,
our asteroid back.
Right.
Yeah.
I figure there's got to be some backstory in the comics, right? Maybe. I'm not familiar.
I haven't found any, but I have. Maybe need to dig some deeper. I hope they. Well, I think the vibranium as a comet, I think may be a more MCU story than not so much in the comics. Because I think vibranium is in Africa in the comics, but I think it may be a natural thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but in the MCU, they're like, let's make it from space.
Well, it was kind of fun because I had the pleasure of going with Daniel see the movie and the opening scene. Well, maybe not the opening scene, but where they introduce vibranium. It's an asteroid. He's like, called it. But
I know.
My question was after. I think what Angela was just talking about was normally asteroids either come from an asteroid field. And correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't asteroids fields normally where they once a planet?
Yep.
So I think Angela's top. I think, but that was my question walking out. I was like, well, then where did Thanos blow something up or something like that? Like, where did it come from? Is it an Avenger that blew something up and it,
It makes me wonder if something like that would get brought up in Infinity War, but I doubt it.
Is it a piece of Krypton?
Piece of Krypton.
It jumped over to the MCU universe through a
wormhole. The whole planet blew up.
Whoa, man.
That's funny.
I leaned over to Nate and I was like, I told you so, or something like that. Maybe I just went, yes. I don't know what I did, but totally called. The vibranium was an alien asteroid, comet, whatever, landed on Earth, and boom. Lucky old Earth. So, yeah, I like that about the story. That was cool. It was interesting to see basically a deity Bast is their god, their deity that they worship, and they kind of serve, and it inspires them. So in the MCU, we have never seen any godlike character passed off as just a god. We had the Asgardians, but we soon learned, they're just super advanced. They're not actually gods. They just look like gods and act like gods because they're so powerful. So there's that. We've got Dormammu, which is an extra-dimensional, being, which apparently there are those in the MCU.
It's
and then there's Bast, which is passed off as a deity and is kept as a deity. No one tries to explain it away, or there's no reason to believe it's anything else. So I thought that was interesting. Do you guys think about that? Like the MCU is a very naturalistic universe where there's not actually any supernatural stuff going on. It's just something you don't understand. It could be, extra-dimensional. It could be alien. It could be something you haven't discovered yet in the natural world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not too sure what.
But then we have Bast.
Kind of making that out to be. Yeah, unless that's also some sort of extra.
Yeah, they're gonna have to explain it away if they ever. I don't think they'll ever do it, but I'm just saying they could easily say, oh yeah, this is just an extra dimensional being that went to Earth or possessed a panther, and the early Wakandans took it as a god, whatever, and they served it ever since, which would be kind of cool.
Well, you think that whatever it is would be connected to whatever the other, kind of like the ethereal plane or whatever you would call it, that
celestial plane.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It could be connected to that.
Yeah, because that's a thing apparently. So maybe their god is connected to that world or something. Could just be another dimension. I don't know.
That's another surprising thing about the story is that, again, there's another supernatural thing. Like people die and go to an afterlife. That's never been anywhere.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
And so that's kind of cool, From a Christian perspective, there's a lot of interesting parallels between Christ, dying, coming back, afterlife, all kinds of cool stuff in this movie. We don't have really time to go into all that. The Popcorn Theology podcast does a really great job of talking about that, and we love them. So check them out. So that's an interesting little twist to the MCU. As we see a deity, we see afterlife, and I just thought it was a nice touch,
Yeah.
Something else I noticed about this story is that it sort of mimicked the Star Wars prequels in that there was this nice utopian group of people that are good, they've got their stuff together, which is Wakanda, and the Star Wars equivalent would be, I guess, the Jedi Council. But it's not all as it seems. There is corruption. And with their strict, set of rules and customs and perfect, things that we look up to say, oh, these guys have got it, they did it right. There are still problems because of that. The Jedi's got all kinds of issues because of all their rules and, imbalances and stuff like that. And, Wakanda apparently has issues too. I mean, there's been black market vibranium for decades, at least, because, Stark, Howard Stark?
Yeah. Back in the Captain America, when he became Captain America, it's sitting on the table, and he's like, "Oh, what about this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's some nice stuff. It's vibranium." He's like, "What's it made of?" And then he really just kind of avoids the question.
Yeah, so Howard Stark has gotten vibranium decades before, and we don't know along the way if there has been other leaks, either from Claw or other people. And Claw got vibranium at least on different occasions. Some for Ultron, which Ultron used to make Vision's body. And
really, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
I need to rewatch that movie.
I mean, the Vision isn't all made out of it, obviously, but it was for him. Some of it, maybe his power source, maybe his arm, I don't know, skin. Who knows?
So does that mean he's still alive, even if they take the stone out of his head?
That remains to be seen. I think there is a scene in the preview of Infinity War where he's got the stone off of him and he's just a human.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I mean, that's what gave him his sentience. It's the Mind Stone that brought him to life. So we don't know what he is without it. Maybe he'll just die. That suck.
Sure.
He's a human with a suit without powers.
I love Vision. I hope he doesn't totally die. Of course,
I like the actor too. I mean, that voice has been there since 2007 or 2008 with Tony. So
yep, it's a good voice. And so about vibranium, we also see that Claw got a full-on weapon made and put on him. Someone inside of Wakanda is doing some bad stuff, and helping him out.
Like I think like what you said. How did Claw get his hand?
But we don't know from who, when, how, why. I knew his forearm was cut off by Ultron. Do you know that? Yep. Huh. He rips it off. I just saw the clip today in Age of Ultron. So yeah, Ultron's a big jerk. He just ripped his arm off, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you'll be okay." Ultron was weird, man. It was it was too comical. I was like, "This is too human for me. I'm sorry. I need a little more robot."
I know.
They were trying to do something with him. I don't know.
They were trying to make him scary. Like he was like a big scary robot that had humor and was kind of weird.
Funny robots are kind of scary in a sense, but I don't know. That's a different episode. So yeah, great story. We all love the story. The characters were killer. I mean, I loved seeing the women warriors, the Royal Guard. Awesome.
They were cool.
They were.
I didn't even know the girl from The Walking Dead was in this movie.
Oh my gosh.
Did I
missed that. I don't watch this.
What's her name? I can't pronounce her real name. It's like Denai. I can't.
Do you know which character she played?
Last name is. She plays Michonne in The Walking Dead, and since I had to avoid like all the trailers and everything before the movie, I had no clue she was in it. So I was sitting in the theater. I'm like,
so who was she in Black Panther?
She was Okoye, the general of the guards.
Okoye was awesome.
Well, what's the? Well, I guess what would be the older version? Uncle's name in real life?
Yeah, Zuri.
Okay. He's also like I know that he's part of Disney and he was in Rogue One, but to see him in Black Panther, I was like, "What? Look, like he's here!" Cool. I was super like blown away, like because like I said, like Angela, I didn't know a lot of the people that were going to be in the movie or not. I knew Michael B. Jordan and I knew the guy that played Black Panther, which I'm forgetting his real name in real life. So Andy Serkis, of course, because he's kind of plastered all over with Michael B. Jordan in the trailer, but. I'm glad people like Agent Ross stuck around the whole movie, though.
Yeah, he was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised at how like much of a hands-on role he took towards the end. I didn't. Yeah,
he saved the day in a sense.
As big of a player as he was. Yeah,
that was really cool.
I thought he was just going to be this wimpy character that everyone made fun of at first.
After he got the shot, he got his pass to Wakanda.
Oh my god!
Season pass.
That sucked.
All it takes is a bullet to the spine. Oh, that's messed up.
And somehow vibranium heals his spine. We don't know. So here's the things that vibranium does. It's an energy source. Okay, it's super strong metal, impenetrable almost. It also can alter plants to give you mystical powers to the afterlife. It can heal your spine. And what else can it do? It can be in your clothing. What can't freaking vibranium do? What is this stuff? It's metal.
It's amazing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Very all-purpose kind of material.
It's the Mary Sue. It's the Mary Sue mineral.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Am I right or am I right?
Kind of true, honestly.
It can do everything you need it to do. Mary Sueium. Let's call it that.
Did you know that Mary Poppins' middle name is Sue, so she really is a Mary Sue?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Practically perfect for a reason.
That's where it came from.
I did that on purpose.
That's great. Well, she is a witch. Anyways, we all know that, right?
She's also a Time Lord.
Oh, man. She's a Mary Sue.
And last night, Disney gave us the teaser for Mary Poppins Return.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it yet.
So.
Awesome. I'll watch that. I can't wait. So let's talk about things we liked about the movie. I obviously love vibranium as much as I like to criticize it.
Oh my gosh.
Mary Sueium, I mean. And I was curious last night, and I actually did a little homework, and I found out that adamantium is in fact stronger than vibranium. Did you know that?
Which, for those that don't know what that is, it's
Wolverine's skeleton and its claws. Yeah. So adamantium is actually made from vibranium plus steel. So they've fused them, whatever, mixed them together, and voila, you got adamantium. So it's stronger and denser. Okay. And so if Wolverine fought Cap or Black Panther, he could totally pierce through their weapons. At least maybe with some effort.
This is the crossover I need now.
Let's just hope that Thanos does not find this stuff.
Oh my gosh. Thanos gets the adamantium sword. They'd all be in trouble. He's got the stones. He doesn't need adamantium.
He's got everything he needs.
So I loved vibranium was cool. I loved T'Challa's humbleness. It was very different than Steve and Tony, of course. The Royal Guard of Women, like I said, was just amazing. Like just seeing women being like intimidating and fighting efficiently and also being fully clothed. That was nice, right?
That was a nice breath of fresh air.
There was no cleavage in the movie. There was no midriff that from the warriors or anything. And I thought that was great. Finally, women being amazing without also having to be a sex object or even sexualized at all. It was great.
Yeah. Nice. I also liked T'Challa's little sister Shuri a lot.
She was cool.
I know, she was so funny. And I don't know if that's because I'm also the little sister in my family. So maybe I just could relate to her. Yeah. I'm also a little bit the tech person in my family too, sort of. At least compared to everyone else. So maybe I just felt like I had like some sort of like relation to her or something. I could relate to her somewhat.
Yeah, she was fun. She was a comic relief, and the girl at the chair kind of character, if you will. Literally, when she was driving the car.
Yeah, that was cool. Actually, that car.
Dude, their 3D printing technology. What the heck?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's some above and beyond stuff right there.
That was crazy.
I don't know.
It's like
that's super cool.
Anti-gravity dirt that can be a hologram. It can make a car.
The ultimate driving simulator.
Anything.
Yeah. That was I think what Angela just said was at the very end for Agent Ross. He's like, "Hey, once I get connected to the ship, and then all of a sudden this the ship seat just popped out of nowhere, and she's like, "Oh, I made it American for you."
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's so cool that you guys have technology like that."
That's funny. She could do anything.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was great. I enjoyed her too. Like I said earlier, I love that it had nothing to do with America. That was cool. I mean, well, it did. I'm sorry. The kind of early scenes where it was back in the 90s, that was America, obviously. Maybe if I didn't mention that earlier, but that was good. Those scenes are really, kind of a good setup for Eric's, backstory and what happened to him. Why didn't T'Chaka take the dead body of the guy out of the apartment? You just kill him and leave him there for the son to come home and find?
That's so sad.
All types of wrong in that scene.
But you know why he left the body there? Because he had to, or we would have no villain. That's why.
Yep.
Just leave that there.
Yes.
Like a dead body. Oh. It wasn't about racial superiority. It wasn't about blacks being superior. It wasn't about whites being superior. It wasn't about anybody. There is superiority in technology, of course, and the resources that they had in Wakanda. But I love the ending scene where he opens it up to everyone. He finally makes a decision to open up, take down the walls, if you will, of Wakanda, and not only that, but share technology with everyone. And that's awesome. I was hoping that would happen. I didn't know how he would do that, but they did it.
That's one of my other favorite scenes. They're like, "Well, what do you have to offer us?" And he just kind of smirks, and it's the end.
That was great.
More than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, just wait. And now I got to mention this before I pass it up. But have y'all seen the trailer for Infinity War where Iron Man, his suit is like forming around him, right?
Yeah.
Does that not look just like the Black Panther nanotechnology?
Oh, snap.
Everybody got an upgrade.
Right.
Vibranium. Everybody's got vibranium in their suits now.
Man, T'Challa is tricking everyone out for Infinity War. He kind of has to, in a way, you would think, in order for any of them to stand a chance against Thanos, right? That makes sense.
That would be sweet if we see an overall upgrade to everyone thinks of Black Panther. But I mean, he can't be Iron Man anymore. He's a vibranium man now. If this is true,
oh my gosh!
Let it be said. Let it be heard that I am predicting that nanobots are the new Iron Man suit, medium via Black Panther. We will see. I was wrong about a major prediction for Black Panther, but we'll see if I was right about this one.
Ooh.
So what else do you guys like about the movie? Visuals or anything like that?
Visuals, of course. I like how that the city was hidden away. The way it was hidden away, I was like, why are they flying into a tree? And then it goes.
Look out!
That's one thing I forgot, that the city was hidden. But Wakanda, the city looks like really nice. It makes you wonder like where they get their resources from.
Well, I thought that too, and it's not realistic in the sense that they are able to do all this on their own, but they are a self-sufficient nation.
Yeah.
So themselves.
I mean, I wonder like if they're using the vibranium technology to make something that's in the real world. Like let's say clothing. I'm making something up. Let's say there's clothing they can make with vibranium technology, and then they go outside of the shield and sell it to get money. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like a give and give back kind of thing.
That would definitely make them rich real quick. But from what they said, they're they don't want vibranium to get out. Like they see that mankind is not ready for that much power and resource, and so they're keeping it to themselves. Right. The only way it's gotten out is illegal black market means. They're not officially selling it. So,
well, not so much selling it. I'm talking about like they're using the technology to make a product and then walking across the shield and selling it.
Mass produce it super quickly.
Yeah, that could be. I didn't think about that. I'm just thinking vibranium everything. Vibranium, all the things.
Right.
Make everything metal.
Yeah, good idea. That could be it. The architecture was really cool. It was, I don't know African architecture. If there is, I'm sure there's different styles of architecture across Africa, but I felt like it was very foreign to me and really beautiful and also sci-fi. It was a really cool blend.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And of course, the little ships that were flying around, those are super cool. Kind of like bug looking, right?
Yeah.
Sort of insectoid-looking ships. They were very functional, and their engines were interesting. You notice the engine on the back of the ships? It was like a blue energy field. It just kind of was like a lava lamp, weird, trippy little design on the back. And that was like the energy or the vibranium, whatever, that was the propulsion. It was very, very alien looking. It was cool.
Towards the beginning, when they were in the scene in the aircraft, and Black Panther was going to go down, and she said, "Don't freeze." He's like, "I never freeze." And then as he looks down at the table, all of a sudden a visual of what they were going to stop popped up, and he picked it up and like moved his hand over it to see who actually was in there.
That was like, over the top. So it was cool. I was like, did you really need to do that? Come on.
I just thought it was a cool step.
Yeah, it was cool. Very, very well executed and very creative. I've never seen any 3D. It's like, I guess they're creative. People are like, everyone has holograms. No more holograms. Let's do like something physical, like 3D printing holograms. Yeah, it was cool. It was very interesting.
That was very cool. And then they could dissect of who was in the actual vehicle moving or what was in there.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Definitely a next step, really looking beyond the norm of sci-fi and doing something new and creative.
Yeah.
Cool. So Battle Rhinos, awesome. Just leave that
Very cool. Was not a fan of the CGI for them, though.
The CGI was
that was like the one thing I did not like about the movie was the CGI.
No, come on. Like, you have the Hulk, you have Thanos, you have all these aliens that come flying out of the space to attack New York with some great CGI. They look scary, and they have like all this cool stuff, and you have cities that are floating and things. And then there's what the heck? It looks like they got like a third party to make the rhinos.
You had one job.
I'm like, okay, you guys look like you forgot to render them out, to be honest. I was like, whoa. It just threw me off because, like, you think of the MCU, if it's going to be cheesy, it's going to be cheesy. But normally the visuals and CGI and stuff is like, wow, it's breathtaking. I never thought about that. It puts a new perspective to a movie or a scene or a character. And then all of a sudden this rhino, and I was like, wow. Okay, PS2 graphics.
Y'all are funny. I didn't even think about that. I was like, this is awesome.
Rhinos.
I didn't even care about the graphics.
The animal.
That's hilarious.
He's so cute.
Lazy. I was lazy in that moment. I was just enjoying it for the excitement.
You'll see it now that we brought it out.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this looks rough. Yeah.
I definitely like the different tribes. That was something that really stood out to me. Like when they were literally about to give the Black Panther like herb to the head of the other tribe, and I believe it was I don't even know what the tribe was called. I don't think they clarified that. And I like the respect instead of just being greedy, because he was the one that challenged him earlier in the movie, for him to say, just wait and follow me, and he's still alive. Give it to him. It's his. That mutual respect, even though he could have easily taken it, and he could have easily, been the top tribe. I really like that. And then, of course, I still don't remember his name, and I feel awful. Good actor, though. And he was definitely funny. Like I said earlier, the humor was definitely placed correctly. Like, where they're having a pretty loving, intimate family scene. He's like, are you guys done yet? Like, it was just perfect.
Yeah, that's cool. So you guys have any things you didn't like, or maybe you were confused about in the movie?
Is there like a large mountain range within walking distance of like their main city? Because how in the heck did it get snowy so
with
fast?
An Arctic climate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually asked this online. I asked on a big group, the Popcorn Theology group, and another plug for them. And, I said, all right, guys, I don't know geology here, but where the heck's all these snowy mountains coming from? We're in one country of Wakanda. And I looked it up. So Wakanda is fictionally, I think it was just northeast of Uganda. And Uganda is like right on the equator, okay? So this is a tropical equatorial climate. And so one guy, he said, Mount Kilimanjaro is just high enough to be snowy and cold. So I guess if it's all to do with altitude, if tall enough and high enough, it's snowy despite being on the equator. I don't know.
I just wonder how long would it have taken
but the
everyone
walk
to make that trek.
Yes, regardless of it being there or not.
The
traveling there, it's like, how did he just get there? What?
Yeah.
Like a week's journey, unless he flew a ship over there or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much time would have passed from, Killmonger becoming king to them arriving at the other village.
Right.
But I wouldn't think it would have been that long.
Yeah. And
there's no way. Yeah.
And again, like I said earlier, you know why there is a snowy climate? Because they had to bury him in snow so that they could be just like the other thing when they bury him in dirt. That's why.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
That's exactly why. Because they had to bury him in
you're
something.
Right. Oh my goodness.
It must have been cold.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, it's to keep him in a coma. No, it's so you can have the burying scene and have it just like when he's buried in dirt. Come on.
Yeah.
You're just making stuff up. Snow won't keep you in a coma.
Yeah. I don't know. I really didn't go into the movie trying to dislike this movie.
Me either.
I wish the uncle didn't die. That's one thing I wish. I wish they portrayed the dad of not having like this hidden. What is with Marvel having the dads be weird? Thor's father was like this nut
Thor's
job.
dad, same thing.
It was like a nut job, and then Black Panther's dad was like, "Oh, I changed the destiny," and then Black Panther called him out and said, "No, that was wrong. We're gonna make the wrongs are right." And I was like, "Dang, like what's with the MCU making all these fathers weird?"
I mean, it's not like at least it's not like the animated Disney films where there's no parents. At least they do have some parents, but they're bad.
This is Disney's influence.
And we got Star-Lord. Star-Lord's dad.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. What other bad parents are there?
Oh my gosh.
Tony Stark's dad. He had some shady past, right?
Right.
I'm sure Thanos had a bad childhood.
Wait a second.
Thanos had the worst dad, I'm sure.
Wait, where are the mothers? Are there any moms?
You know who had a bad childhood? And so Star-Lord has an interesting father. He was a planet. But what's her name? Gamora and sister.
Oh yeah.
Their dad was. I know, but their dad, like she pulled her apart until she was a perfect whatever. Mm-hmm. That's why she's a robot.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Okay.
Thanks, Dad.
It's gonna pull me apart, make me artificially better. Okay.
Yeah. Good to know I'm good enough for you, Dad. Thanks.
Oh man.
That's crazy. Well, apparently the MCU has a beef with some dads, but
yeah, apparently.
No, Thor's dad, which I forget his name at the moment.
Odin.
Yeah. And then like he becomes a total nut job in Ragnarok, and he's like, Do you hear that? Do you hear that? And he's listening to the wind. I'm like, oh man, this dude's gonna die.
When you start listening to the wind and being all deep, you're gonna die.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's legit. I was like, he's just gonna die. Like totally off topic, but like, our wonderful guy Jim Carrey's been saying stuff like that. I'm like, he's gonna die.
No, we can't lose him.
I know, I don't want to. I like him. But he's been talking about, he's like, the present's not here and the future is behind us and the past isn't forward. And that makes sense, right? I'm like, what?
Jim Carrey.
But
maybe it's all the big setup for a big hit comedy that's coming up soon.
Probably. But going into the Black Panther, and there was really not anything I disliked, maybe besides I wish the villain, Michael B. Jordan's role, had more villain time of being on the throne.
That's kind of what happens when you have two villains in a movie to share the spotlight, pretty much.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I was super surprised that Andy Serkis got killed off like halfway in the movie.
I know, I didn't see that. I was like, dude, you can't kill him.
But then you know what?
Mm-hmm.
He was, what's his name in Star Wars?
Snoke.
He didn't last very long either.
He just dies a lot, doesn't he? In his movies?
Gollum died. He got some pretty rough endings, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think the only role that hasn't died is Caesar in Planet of the Apes. He's made 3 movies.
Not yet. There'll be another long-winded titled Planet of the Apes movie coming up soon, and maybe he'll die there. I don't know. Survival of the apes, of the Planet of the Apes, of the New Horizon of the future.
Perfect.
I really like the music in this one. That was a nice taste of this. I was really, I don't know. I really liked the instrumental. Then they kind of went, and Michael B. Jordan was on screen. Anything that had to do not with kind of Black Panther's role, it was kind of some cool drums, hip hop stuff. I was like, yeah, that actually works. I like that a lot. Like I was really liking that. I was like, whoever composed this music did a really good job. I bet they had a lot of fun too, dipping into African history and music, and then also doing like rap, hip hop sounding stuff. That was really cool. I was like, man, I bet, like what you said, I bet you they had some fun because I was like, I really like this.
It's like a dream job for a composer to do things different.
That was really cool. And like the sound effects and everything really just worked with the music.
And Angela, you have any complaints or things you're confused about?
No, I think I've already listed everything that I can think of off the top of my head already. CGI rhinos, check.
Yeah, I've already complained about a few of the things that I kind of caught me off guard or didn't quite add up to me. But my big complaint is that there's no freaking Soul Stone. God, they missed it.
Yeah, we're missing one of those, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the last one.
I guess it shows up in Infinity War.
Too. That probably be Infinity War will probably be the Thanos is gonna dig it out of the ground and be like, I hope it's good. I hope it's like, because we have all four and we're missing one, right?
I think there's 6. There's only one left though.
So we have all 5 knuckles, and then in the palm of his hand, or on the middle back of his hand.
There's 1 or 2 on the top of his hand.
Interesting.
It might be. If there's 2, then there's 7. I need to look at the list,
dang.
but pretty sure there's 6.
Regardless, Black Panther didn't show a Soul Stone, and now we have questions. So that's good.
Yeah.
Disney did their job, and
Now I actually I looked it up, and I saw a quote from I think the director or the writer where they said that they did consider putting the Soul Stone in the movie, but they felt that it would just be too much because of vibranium. This is the big spotlight for vibranium.
Yeah, that's true.
And
I agree. Good job.
It's not a character, but it almost is because it's such a big part of the MCU. So they thought it would be too much to cram in the herb and the vibranium and the Soul Stone. That's too big. So,
well then
I understand, but
I agree with that then because I didn't think of it in that context. So I like that. I like this way better.
Yeah, it's a good decision. It would have been too bloated, but I'm moving my prediction up one movie. I'm predicting now that Adam Warlock, which is. We see him being created at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm predicting that he's going to be a major player in Infinity Wars, and that he's either going to be created with the help of the Mind Stone, or he's going to get or use the Mind Stone, something like that. I think he's going to be connected with that. We'll see. In the comics, he's a really powerful character, and in the comics, he actually has the stone on his forehead, kind of like Vision does. And he is able to use it to go into the afterlife, and I think talk to dead people. I don't know about bringing him back to life, but he's like the guy with the gem in the comics.
Well, come beat up Thanos for us, Adam.
Yeah, I'm hoping Adam is like one of the keys to beating Thanos.
They made Adam because Groot stole a battery.
Oh my gosh!
Dang,
we'll jump the gun there, guys. Come on.
Dang, you don't mess with them.
We're gonna wipe out your solar system. Give us a battery back. When I was watching the movie, did you guys notice in the final fight scene down in the mine with the vibranium, where did that knife come from that he stabbed Eric with?
Yeah, I didn't recognize that. The only thing I thought about is that when they were on top of the scene when she. Okay. I am probably wrong, and I'm okay with that. But the only thing I can remember from remembering the movie is, didn't the sister fight Michael B. Jordan knock her down and disarm her spear?
Her weapons? No, she had guns on her hands.
Okay, so then that's what I'm trying to because that's the only because Michael B. Jordan and I forget the name of the sister were near the edge.
Sure. Yeah.
And Black Panther saw him and took off and dove. So maybe it could have been one of his.
Yeah, I think Killmonger may have tossed his spear down, or someone threw it. I could see Killmonger doing that, be like, I'm just going to fight you like a man, and getting rid of the weapon. But someone said that online that he had tossed it down in the hole, and it was right there, perfectly in place.
Of course.
Just saying.
I'll admit I didn't think twice about it during that scene.
So I'm curious to see if in future films, if we ever see the sonic field or the plant used against them. That would be cool, because that scene where the field was messing up their suits was really intense and just
and then the controllers on how it was controlled were it looked like a bracelet. I don't know, it was at the very beginning when he gets back to Wakanda and he hands all of them back to Shuri. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah, it's like their interface, kind
of cool.
The Mary Sue device that can just control and do everything if you just touch it.
It's too much Mary Sue-ness in
Mary
this
Sue
movie.
and everything, man. So, I think we all agree it was a killer movie. I can't wait to see it again.
Can't wait to own it.
Yeah, I just might. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a Black Panther 2 in a few years.
So. I really hope
there probably will be. I would be surprised if there was not.
Yeah.
Or at least a Captain America Black Panther movie or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool. There's a guy up in I think in Harlem, where he was raising money, and he raised up to $40,000 to take kids to see this movie.
Wow.
And it was the boys. Like I don't know if he was like targeting mostly like trying to get, black kids to see the movie, or if it was a Boys and Girls Club. And I don't know much about Boys and Girls Club, but it was the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, and he paid for all of the kids within this club or program.
40,000?
Man, that's awesome.
And, like he paid for all of them to go see it, and then he started a GoFundMe to kind of make it like a challenge. What's that?
That's crazy, because if you think a ticket's probably like, I don't know, it depends on where you go. Let's say average out about $10.
Yeah.
Dang, 40,000. Sheesh.
Yeah, it's 4,000 kids. So yeah, he did that, and then some. I think J.J. Abrams and his wife, and was it Michael B. Jordan? Someone else chimed in, and they started donating money too to just kind of do this as a movement to get kids to see the movie.
That's really cool.
Just for the sake of having a black hero. Like I saw this really cute video. These two little black kids were outside a theater, and they're looking at the movie poster on the outside. And one kid's saying, "I'm that guy," and the other guy's like, "I'm this guy." And it's just like, it's awesome. They can relate to somebody.
Yeah, cute.
You haven't really had a mainline hero like that. And similar to what I said about Wonder Woman, girls are. I'm sure that's been awesome to grow up in this day and age to have such an awesome female hero. That must be really special. So that's cool. So that's one thing I really love about this movie, and it's neat to see the social impact, and it's brought up a lot of good discussions.
Yeah.
And if you can just like not be ridiculous and get offended and say everything is racist, I think we can all have some really good discussions about black identity and representation. And this movie also for women, like this is a really great, I think, empowering movie for women to see women warriors, and to see, what's the couple's name? Okoye and Wakabi. They were a couple in the movie. Cool. And that scene where they're on the battlefield and she's basically got the upper hand, and he's like, "Would you kill me? You're my love." And she's like, for Wakanda, I would.
Yeah, that was intense.
And he knows he's beat. He can't fight her.
Yeah.
That's what made me laugh. He basically surrenders, and because he knows he don't stand a chance against her.
Yeah.
Well, the rhino was the funny touch that they added the rhino like sliding towards them and then like stop at the very last second and lick her face.
Yes. That was also really cool. It's like these are like their battle cats, but battle rhinos, and you don't know if they trained them or if they have relationships with these rhinos off screen. But yeah, that was really awesome too.
It's just funny. They're sliding really fast, and he's like stopping, and then like and like licks his face. He's like, "Oh, hello."
That's great.
And then he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "This was funny." I like I said, the humor was well placed in this movie.
Yeah, Angela, do you have anything to add in about the whole woman empowerment thing?
It just speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
Awesome all around. And again, Okoye is Michonne on The Walking Dead, so she kicks butt on there. So it was great to see her put her skills to use.
Okay, yeah. She got dreads, right, in the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She used her wig as one of a defense mechanism. Oh, yeah. I was like, yes.
That was hilarious.
She hated that wig.
But
I love that so much.
All right, cool. I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for this discussion. It's been fun. Thank you for seeing it.
Yeah, I know. And, I'm glad I saw it.
And thank you guys for listening to another episode. We really have been having fun. This is basically our first week of podcasting live, and have had a great response. You guys are subscribing. You guys are listening daily, which is really a special feeling for us because we work hard to make this, and you guys are eating it up, and that's a good feeling. So if you like what we stand for, our show, we like what we do, share it. Share a post from any of our social medias. You can find us on most of the social media platforms. If you have any questions or, hey, we probably said something wrong. I'm sure it happens. Email us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear back from you guys. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like to hear in an episode, it can be about movies, it can be about books, technology, photography, videography. We do a lot of stuff here. As you can tell, our previous episode was about Lightroom and photography, and this one's about a movie review. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. So I hope you guys like it too.
Yeah.
Visionary variety.
Yeah, I think that's the best way I could sum it all up. I had the hardest time coming up with a name for this podcast. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know what to call it.
Variety vision.
We wanted to do so many things.
Vision variety.
And I like the word vision. I love vision as a hero. I like the word vision as a word. And variety. Hey, put it together. Boom. Yeah. That's how it happened. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. So again, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys are sharing it, getting the word out, and subscribing, and we will see you next week. Imagine Medea in Black Panther.
Hallelujah.
Oh man, that would have been something else.
Tyler Perry does not belong in Marvel. I'm just gonna say that. Okay. I'm
hey man, sorry. You don't know.
It's just a matter of time. He's gonna get in there somehow.
Oh my god.
I hope not. That's not even a racist comment. This personality is a lot.
The crazy uncle.
You hear the background like, "Hello there." And I'm like, "Oh
no."
Oh, my head hurts. That was funny. Just thinking of Medea in Black Panther.
That's special.